Right, we're glad to have you back. For more than 2 months, non-academic staff unions of universities have been on strike over alleged failure of government to keep its own part of an agreement with them. The Joint Action Committee, comprising of Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, a non-academic staff union of educational institutions, NASU, and National Association of Academic Technologists, NAT. They have called for an emergency meeting following the outcry by JAM that the lingering strike would affect the 2018 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, especially the mock exam scheduled for February the 26th.
Well, the federal government had in January threatened to invoke Section 43 of the Trade Dispute Act of the Labor Law against the striking workers. That section of the act recommends a no work, no pay rule.
It's agreed in October 2017 that 23 billion naira will be released to all federal institutions in the country. But it is amazing and it is very, very unfortunate to now see federal government now allocated 98% of the money to academic staff alone, leaving 2% to all the 3 non-teaching staff, SANU, NASU, and NAT, to be shared.
We have met the government 33 times without any sign of relief. But now with this present situation of things that is going around the world, the old universities, government will not listen that enough is enough, because there is no way we are in a particular institution, a section out of 4 sections can be working, whereas the 3 that are holding the key factors of the university system are not working. Automatically, it will paralyze the whole activities.
Appealing to the federal government to listen to this union. Don't think because they are not teaching students or because the students are there taking activity. There are many things going on inside the university that they don't know. This SANU protects university in terms of fund, in terms of administration.
Right, in case you're wondering what exactly the job of SANU is, you just heard some of it there. We have 2 gentlemen with us, the acting chairman, Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, Comrade Benga Adenaya, and also in the studio is a member of the SANU, Olusegun Odusanwo. Good morning, gentlemen. It's good to see you on TVC Breakfast. Let me begin with the acting chairman, Benga Adenaya. 2 months on, the strike has been going on for 2 months now. You want to refresh our memory exactly what this strike is all about?
Thank you. In 2009, the federal government of Nigeria signed agreements with all the 4 university-based unions. Each of the unions had a separate agreement. And since that time, the government has not fulfilled the part of the agreement. But in 2013, during the administration of the former president, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, he released 30 billion naira to all the federal universities. And when that money was released, each of the universities were credited with their own allocation of the money. In our own case, University of Lagos, we received 1.6 billion to be shared among the 4 unions. And truly, the money was shared accordingly without any fracas.
What exactly was the money meant for? Was it just for salaries or to
It is part of our salaries.
To solve all the problems?
It is part of our salaries.
The end allowances?
Yes.
The end allowances, okay.
You see, when that agreement was signed, government was not proactive enough. That money should be paid on monthly basis into our salaries. It is part of our salaries. It should appear on payslip. In the case of our own union, it was an agreement that, okay, senior staff are to receive 30,000 per month and junior staff to receive 15,000 naira per month. But immediately that agreement was signed in 2009, nothing was done. It was not implemented in our payslip. So after a lot of agitations, in 2013, I said the former president released 30 billion. 1.6 billion was allocated to University of Lagos. And we were paid 18 months arrears. That is from July 2009 to December 2010. So which means the federal government is still owing us from January 2011 to date. So in January 2017, we went on a warning strike under Jack, and they promised to listen to our demands and resolve the issue. But we found out that after 9 months, there was no feedback from the government. Then in September, our national leadership called for a warning strike, which we all obliged. During that strike, the federal government formed a committee to meet with the leadership of the striking unions. 3 ministers were part of that committee.
Plus ASU?
No.
Just the JAC?
Just the JAC.
That's Joint Action Committee.
Yes. During that period, ASU was also on strike. They were also negotiating with government. So,
because we don't really have much time, want to maximize this time that we have. Okay. You know, if you could, you know, go straight to exactly what the agreement between NASU and the federal government was all about. Maybe Mr. Odusonwo wants to respond to that very quickly. Itemize them for us as briefly as you can, so that we know exactly where we're going.
There are a lot of things in that agreement.
Yeah.
But the major one that is causing this strike now is the earn allowance.
Okay.
Because the thing continues to accumulate. As he said, instead of government to put the thing in our salary, they did not.
Okay.
They pay you small. When you agitate, they pay you small. The thing continues to accumulate again to date. That is the basis of this current...
Okay. All right, now, someone saying that what this is all about is just that Jack is just trying to flex muscles, to rub shoulders against the ASU after the federal government released about 27 point something billion naira, and then ASU got 23. And
that
then
is not the case.
The other unions, that was why you had to even go on strike eventually, because you questioned why ASU got about 90% or so of the amount released.
Yes, that is not the case. Okay. The issue is this. ASU had his own agreement with government. Other unions also had their own agreement. In September, we went on warning strike. After 2 weeks, government called for us to resume. We resumed, and there was a memorandum of agreement signed with government that monies were going to be released for all the staffs in the universities, and that this money will be allocated to all the universities accordingly. You see, what we are asking for is equity and fairness.
Why are you in talks with the government now? Because
we are still in talks with the government, but the issue is government is not sensitive to our demands. Government has only met our leadership once since we started this strike. That was in on December 19th, 2017. And they accepted their fault. They accepted that the mistake was from them. This thing happened between NUC and Federal Ministry of Education. The former chairman of the Implementation Monitoring Committee of N Allowances, who is presently the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council of University of Lagos, told us categorically that he visited NUC, and at NUC, the documents he gave them when he was leaving that office was just changed when he got to Ministry of Education.
So are you asking for the total sum? We understand that's about 66 billion naira earned allowances.
Yes, because we will not want to be continue this thing all along again. If they could clear that amount now and then put the thing inside the pay slip, then all this problem of striking every now and then we have to stop.
Now, the core of creation of university is research, and we are not hearing that anymore. Before, since the agreement in 2009, ASU and other unions like yours, you're smiling, I'm glad you are, we're always demanding the funding of the universities for research and then end allowances in pari passu. But now it seems the call for your allowances to be paid has drowned that for the needful to be done for the university structure.
No, Mara, you will not hear that, because those people that are employed basically for teaching and research, they have abandoned their own core area. The teaching staff now are struggling with the administrator to become director of this, to become this head of this, and they abandon their own area, core area. So that is why we cannot hear that teaching and research as it used to be before.
What do you think is responsible for that? Is it because the administrative aspect is more juicy? That's where the money goes. They are the ones in charge of the purse?
No,
is that what's going on?
Everybody has its own area of duties. But because people want money everywhere, by all means. So that is one of those problems we are having internally in all the universities now.
Okay, and that was why I asked if this strike was because of maybe perceived rivalry between JAC and ASU, because it seems both unions are not on the same page when it comes to demanding for the rights of their rights, and then the structure of the university to be well planned out.
You see, in unionism, injury to one is injury to all. ASU is a sister union, but in this matter, they have not joined us in this struggle. Let me tell you, before we got to this where we are today, if this money had been allocated as it has been done in the past, this problem would not have arisen at all. There is no way a union can go and access fund from government, because it's not the job of the union to access fund. It is the job of the bursary department to analyze and submit cost implication of every salaries that is to be paid. But in this instance, the Minister of Labour was saying that the JAC was very late to access fund. We don't access fund. University system, they do, that is not the way. When you are owing, government is supposed to pay you money. They don't pay to the unions. The university will send the cost implication to NUC. NUC will now send it to Minister of Education, the Minister of Education to Minister of Finance, where they now collate the actual amount to be paid.
But your unions related directly to with the Ministry of Education after the payment was made, demanding reasons for the amount given to ASU, the 23 billion naira, and not saying
out of 20 billion naira, 89% of that money was allocated to ASU, and 11% to JAC. Now, the reason why we met with the Minister of Education was that he is the senior minister in charge of all these issues of NASU, because our jurisdiction falls under his office, education. So when this money was being allocated in November, the minister was not in the country. That was one of the reasons why all these things happened. There was a director in the Ministry of Education that signed all the documents that this is the allocation formula. That allocation formula was just changed while the minister was not in town. And our Pro-Chancellor, with due respect, Dr. Wali Babalaki in SCN, has met with the minister and has told the minister that they should do the needful.
Was there any commitment from the Minister of Education, Adamu? Has there been any commitment on his part? Mr. Odusonwo?
Yes. None of them has been responding to our own expectation. And I have to say here categorically that the non-teaching staff in universities are a bit shortchanged, because everybody, both in the Ministry of Education, NUC, everybody are member of ASU.
Okay, so this is an ASU-NASU thing,
no,
more or less.
No, it's not ASU-NASU.
Yeah.
Where I'm going is, all of them over there, they know when they leave that appointment, either in NUC, Ministry of Education, or so, they will come back to their, and they will have to work so that when they come back, they will come and meet something. That is the problem the non-teaching staff is having on campus.
But are you concerned about how this is affecting the students? I mean, academic activities have, grounded to a halt, more or less. There's the UTME examination that's supposed to be coming up February 26th. That's Monday, just around the corner here. We hear there's a meeting that's supposed to hold. When is that meeting coming up, and what do you expect to go away with from that meeting?
The problem of this country is that our government is not considerate with the civil servants. This thing is happening everywhere. Labor unrest in Nigeria today is over 80%.
Yes, we understand that, but my concern is your concern about the students
themselves. Our concern about the students.
How will this affect
our
them?
Concern is very clear.
Yes.
Before we got to this stage, there's no way, the only way you can fight for your right, as a civil servant, is the only way is to go on strike. Government does not know any language than that. You cannot get your right easily from government.
Okay, so and now you're on strike. Now that you are planning a meeting because of the UTM examination coming up, what will be the focus of the meeting? Is there a possibility of calling off the strike?
Yeah. We are not aware of that meeting.
Okay. Well, it's out there.
The meeting you are talking about, I don't know whether it's a meeting of our unions or meeting with JAM. We are not aware of that meeting. But in our own level, our national leaders have been clamoring for meetings with government. The last time government invited them to a meeting, the government sent a notice of meeting without an agenda. And when there is no agenda, there cannot be a meeting. So also, the national leadership also met with the House Committee on Education. That was about 2 weeks ago. At that meeting, it was a tripartite meeting where the Minister of Education should have been there, the unions, and the House Committee members. But at that meeting, the minister did not come to that meeting.
Are you willing to cede any ground because of the students? That is my question.
The question,
so that they don't suffer, like they say, when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers.
We don't want the student to suffer.
Yes.
But I think the only way out is for government to adjust, because government has been rigid since this strike started. We will just use this medium to appeal to all well-meaning Nigerians to talk to the federal government.
No, let me come in here so you can make that statement again. Talking about the government, because you talked about government not being sensitive as well. When President Muhammadu Buhari was on a trip in Ethiopia, a journalist asked him a question about this ongoing strike, and he said he was not aware of it. So have you thought about maybe re-strategizing, because the president said that though some thought when he came back he should have called meetings and asked questions, but nothing of such has been done. So maybe the president is not even well briefed on your plight.
That is very possible.
A possibility?
That is very possible. But we are in a country where the media is everywhere. Media coverage is all over Nigeria. Even this issue of our strike is all over the world. People call us from America, from UK, and tell us they saw you on TV. You know, so when they're now telling us that the president is not aware of our plight, that is an understatement.
All right, so there's a possibility that the government could invoke Section 43 of the No Work, No Pay rule. If government goes ahead, you know, to invoke that particular section,
we are ready. We are not afraid of government. We are not afraid. We are ready.
Yes,
let them invoke any section they want to invoke.
So you're not ready to shift ground?
Unless the government do what is necessary from them.
Wow. So what is the plan, really? Because UTM examination is supposed to be conducted, and then universities are being run in half capacity.
They can always go about it the way they have been going about some of the exams that they partially done during this strike. But after doing it, they regret, because they make a lot of mistakes when they do that without using the people that are supposed to be in charge of such a
All right, you know, one almost gets the impression that government has not paid any monies at all to whether it's NASU or ASU or any of them. The funds that government has paid so far, are you concerned about how those monies have been deployed to achieve the best for the schools? Because, you know, the focus seems to be just
is it the money for in allowances or other monies?
And allowances and other monies so far.
The issue of in allowances is a peculiar issue.
Okay.
The reason being that is our salary. It is our salary. It is not money meant to develop the university. That money should go to our purse for our daily bread and to take care of our families and our needs. But when you are not, the welfare of these members of staff should be paramount in the mind of government.
Well, some funds were released years back. That was why I referred to the question earlier, that at a point you were calling for the structure of the universities to be improved for research.
It is part of
funds. And then some funds were released at some point, not just for end allowances.
Yes.
I think it was under
what has happened
President
to those
Goodluck
funds?
Jonathan.
That is under needs assessment. And that is for the development of the universities. They are doing that. The universities the management of the universities are doing that. They are spending the money and we are seeing what they are doing. But this one is very different. This is our salary.
Okay, the goose that lays the golden egg is being, well, not taken care of.
Okay.
That's just what it means. Thank you, gentlemen.
Adenaya, you're the acting chairman of SANU. Thank you very much for coming. And of course, former chairman of SANU, Unilag, Olusegun Odusonwo. Thank you for coming on.
It's our pleasure.
All right, we'll talk next about Nigeria's debt stock and where exactly are we?
Yeah, the debt strategy. Is it working for the country and the economy? Stay with us.